I would say this is probably not one of the proudest moments as officers in regards to our response. What I'm going to do today's video, I'm going to actually walk us through and say where the places that they could have been better at. And then we're going to ultimately watch and see how they stop this threat at the end of the day. But there's one thing that I really want to highlight in this video, which is the importance of make sure you train with stress inoculation, or your inoculation of stress. And basically what that means is creating situations that put you in such a stressful situation, so that way when the real thing happens, you've almost kind of been familiar with that situation, so you can react accordingly and responsibly. So let's watch this video. Do me a favor, but before we watch it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys check out our website and all the other good things, so that way we can continue to bring you guys this great content. Let's watch it.
I think there was about 6 to 8 that they actually put as part-time employees. I don't know how they did it with their agency.
What is that? What are people running?
So I want to pause here first. So then anytime something like this happens, when that initial gunshot goes off, it's that initial shock factor. Like, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows that this was a loud fall of something. So everybody's just kind of shocked that your attention is turned. And I'm sure you guys have been in situations before where a loud bang goes off and your initial reaction is not to run away or even run towards. It's just like, what was that? And so you see the officers that are here on duty at this church, that was their initial response. But then you start hearing multiple shots, and then that's when the screams come thereafter. So when that happens, that's like your clue, like, wow, this is something that's more than just something falling. This is actual, like, hey, look, there's a critical incident that's occurring right before my eyes. So what should happen next? Now, as a civilian, if you're in a situation like this, your first initial response should be flight mode. Like, I need to get as far away from this as possible. I don't know what the lying threats are. I need to get as quickly as I can out of this place. But if you're the police officer, if you're the first responder on scene, this is where the stress inoculation comes into play, and your first response should be, I need to go towards the direction of this gunfire. Now, if you notice, they started going towards the direction of the gunfire, but one of the mistakes that I believe that they made is the pace that they were going towards this gunfire. They were almost going with a walk, a slow walk, or a fast walk, whatever it was, but it wasn't sprinting. Now, the way I've been trained is that, hey, if you're on scene, or if you're the first person off scene, if you have another officer with you, you guys are going as quickly as you can actually shoot, actually, is what they say. You need to run as quickly as you can accurately shoot. So that doesn't mean you're going slow. That doesn't mean you're jogging. That means you're going with a pretty quick pace, but making sure you're not going so fast that you can't accurately shoot. I don't necessarily believe that they were doing this. I believe that stress kicked in, they were a little afraid, and so therefore they slowed it down, because in their mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. Like, is this really happening? Psychologically in their mind, they're trying to process, is this the real thing, and what should I do next? Which is why stress inoculation is so important. Let's continue to watch the video.
Wire loss. Wire area.
3639. You're at Lakewood Church. We need units now.
We need to be moving towards that gunfire. This is why they pay us for what we do. Like they always say, they don't pay us for what we do, they pay us for what we can do. And it's in moments like this where we gotta be going quickly. And if we are not able to do that, then we have to reevaluate and reassess, should we actually be a police officer? Because we have to be going as quickly as we can. Now, I get it. It's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot easier for me to say this when I'm sitting in a studio and I'm comfortable and I'm not the one running towards gunfire. So I don't want to be dismissive of how difficult that decision is. However, As a police officer, we all take an oath and we say, look, I vow to make sure I keep my cities and my community safe. And this is one of those things that we have to do. We have to ingrain it in our mind. But we have to be real with ourselves. The natural reaction, the natural humanistic response of any human being is that, look, I might have that initial fear in flight that I don't want to go towards the sound of gunfire because you know what could happen as you do so. Which again, this is why I say again, stress inoculation is so important. This cannot be the first time that you run towards something and do something that's counterintuitive for your mind when the moment like this actually arrives. You should have already done this in your training well before this event even arrived. Let's continue.
We are Lakewood Church.
We need to go.
We need to go. We need to get closer. Oh, they're coming.
So you can actually see, she even tells, she says, we need to go. So her mind is going to that place of what they need to do. But because they are not mentally prepared for this situation, it's hard for them to do what they know is right. And the right thing that they know to do is to go towards the actual shots of the gunfire. Every second is critical in incidents like this. Like we can't underestimate that. We can't downplay that. Every second is crucial in an active shooter situation. You have to be going so fast that you can get there, and because every second that you don't go is another life that's potentially lost. And so what I need you to do, especially if you're a police officer watching this video, is what is the pace that you would run as the officer if it was your child in that congregation, if it was one of your loved ones? What's the pace that you will run at? And if you imagine your own child, your own son, your own daughter, your mom, your dad, if you imagine them inside or wherever that gunfire is coming from, then you have to ask yourself the question, would you still be running that slow, or would you be running with a lot faster pace? Now, I know I've seen my wife respond in situations where our child is in danger, and I've seen the mama bear come out. When that mama bear comes out, she starts doing things that I didn't even know were possible. It's the same thing for me. And so if you imagine your loved one or somebody in that situation of danger, would you pick up the pace if you knew that your own loved one was in there? And the reason I ask that question is because I know that subconsciously, because you know that your loved one is not in there, you're more thinking about your own safety and your fear of what could happen to you than thinking about what's happening to somebody else's loved one, which is preventing you from going as quickly as you need to go. And again, I'm not knocking people for that necessarily, simply because I know how difficult of a decision it is to make. However, as police officers, this is what we signed up to do. And so we can't use that as an excuse as to this is why I didn't go as fast. Let's continue.
My camera's not working. Come on.
Over here for the unit on scene, please.
They're round. What if we
I
went
got
around?
one chief right here. He's down there, so shit on the way first.
Go, come on. It's probably coming. Careful. Let's approach. We need to approach. Come on. Come on. Come on. We need to approach. Father God, just be with us. Forgive us our sins. Come on. Come on.
Now look, I'm a believer in Christ. I'm all about praying, but that prayer should have been done at the beginning of your shift. I mean, you could pray as you're running towards the gunfire, but again, when shots are being fired, we can't just stop. Every second is crucial. It is crucial. And I think they are so lucky that there wasn't more lives that were lost in this situation. But if you ask me, one life is far too many if we could have prevented this from actually occurring. Let's continue.
What the fuck?
All right, she's coming. She's out. She may have a bomb. You need to call SPD. You need to call SPD.
Well, I already got them called.
Hey, we need a medic. We need a medic immediately. Here. Put the weapon down.
Hello, what's up?
Might be a bomb. Hey, who has a radio? You guys are ready?
Yes, we already got it.
We need a bomb squad.
We may need bomb squad.
We don't know yet. We have a kid that's down. Possibly bullet.
We need a medic. Hey, get a medic. Hey, is this just what you?
You okay? You got me shot?
We need a. Should we approach?
Hold on, she's out of fucking bomb.
She might have a bomb here.
That's the problem. I already called the EMS.
How do you EMS roll up here?
I need the EMS ASAP.
You have a kid? Tell them.
Yeah, I already did. What's the fucking address?
Yeah.
Where's my ambulance at? We have a child that's down. We need by 10 minutes. Circle drive. I need an ambulance for a child.
Is she down? She's down?
Yeah. But she may have a bomb.
Everybody else has been shot?
No. I'm gonna approach with Adrian.
No, she's done. Hold on. You got gloves? Anybody got gloves?
No.
You got gloves? Anybody got gloves?
I got gloves.
What do you need?
Take the weapon. Put your gloves on.
Look, you can't just get into this job of law enforcement because it sounds like a cool job. It seems like a cool profession. I get to carry a gun. I get to have a badge. Don't get into this job if you're not willing to do the hard stuff. If you're not willing to do the difficult things. And again, some of you guys may say, man, you're extra tough on us today. But you know what? I'm saying that because I have to be. We have to be critical of ourselves and the actions of what we decide to do as police officers because other lives depend on it. Other lives depend on us. Some of you guys will sit here and say, oh, well, you know, you've never been in a situation like an active shooter before, so it's easy for you to say that. But look, let me tell you this. Number one is I have been on a situation where it was a call of an active shooter and there were multiple calls saying, hey, look, there's an active shooter going on. And I was one of the first people on scene and I was in a situation where I had to make a decision to either go or wait. And if you can go talk to my old supervisor who's no longer working anymore. But when he got on scene, I was actually telling him, look, we got to go, SARS. We don't have time. Throw your helmet on. We have to go. And we start running into the store. It was a TJ Maxx. We start running into the store, not knowing what we were going to encounter when we got in there. But there was no waiting around. We just went. And we were running. I was telling him, like, we got to hurry up. We got to be quick. Like, we don't have time to wait. And so I have been in situations where I had to make that difficult decision to run towards unknown troubles. I've had to make that decision before. And so my point is that, look, you have to make the decision to run towards this gunfire and these bullets well before the actual incident even occurs. The only difference between people that respond and don't respond is the people that respond accordingly were the ones that were mentally prepared for that incident before it even arose. They were the ones that say, hey, look, if there's gunfire happening, I'm running towards it and I'm going to do my job. And then that's when the training and the tactics comes into play. We train and we work on our tactics because when you are going a million miles a minute and when you there's so many things going on in your mind, it said we know that, look, you're not going to rise to the occasion. You're only going to fall back on the level of your training. And so if you train consistently, if you train hard, if you train for incidents and situations like this, you will start doing things. Your body will start to react and do things that you didn't even know you realized you were doing simply because you were already ingrained and trained to respond to this situation as such. And I know that there have been countless times where I've been in situations and I did things that I didn't even realize I did. And it's only because I reverted back to my level of training. But if you haven't put yourself here, if you haven't mentally been here before, then you have nothing to fall back to. You have nothing to pull back from. You have no experiences to go back to pull from, to know how to respond appropriately. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with is this. I have a good friend of mine who is a Green Beret. And I asked him, I said, hey, look, what's the difference between you and that's somebody that's trained, like one of the most elite people in our military? What's the difference between you and the average police officer or average civilian when it comes to situations and incidents like this? And this is what he told me. He says, Ryan, the only difference that I have that you don't have is that I've inoculated myself to so much stress that I know how to snap out of it faster than you do. You see, I experience fear. I experience stress just as much as you do. We all do. Even the toughest Navy SEALs do. The only difference is that I know how to snap out of it faster. And the only way you're going to learn how to snap out of it faster is by inoculating yourself to so much stress that when the actual situation arises, you'll be able to snap out of it faster and start to respond or react based on your level of training. What do you guys think in the comment section below?